I'm interrupting your Saturday because Ezra Hudson, Blake Lively's lawyer, made a completely inappropriate and inaccurate filing with the court that just further smears and defames content creators that have been swept up within this lawsuit with no... This video is going to get no reach, but I refuse to be silenced, and I refuse... Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Ashley Brianna Eve. I have over 15 years of experience in branding and marketing. I have a particular interest in SEO and narrative control. Now, I've been covering the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni lawsuit since around the time the New York Times Inside a Hollywood Smear Campaign article dropped. It was around Christmas. I was taking time off client work. I had actually lessened my load within client work. And around that time, I deleted a lot of my content on YouTube, to be honest. I was tired of working within the field. I wasn't sure if it was the same direction I would be going in 2025. And I thought, heck, this is a cool case. Let's talk about it. I knew Blake Lively as Ryan Reynolds' wife. I didn't know Justin Baldoni. Didn't know It Ends With Us. Didn't know Colleen Hoover. Didn't know any of the parties other than Blake Lively being Ryan Reynolds' wife. And the only movie or show I'd only ever seen her in was the Shark one, the Shark movie. Didn't even know Gossip Girl. But here we are, a few months later, and I am one of the 16 creators that is named on the Google subpoena. Now, I want to read you my statement that I put out on social media this morning before we go any further. So I put this statement out in response to the filing, which we will go over as well, by Ezra Hudson with the court. I'm going to be completely honest. I have said since Blake Lively skirted out of her deposition again that the emergency meeting was PR related, not legal related. My opinion only, Blake and Ezra. This filing that they made last night, which is again smearing and defaming under the guise of litigation privilege, content creators that have nothing to do with this case, in my opinion, is also PR related, nothing to do with an actual legal filing. But we'll get into that. I made this statement because there's a lot of misinformation that's going around, and again, my opinion, allegedly being pushed by what appear to be pro Blake Lively, either bots or friends of theirs, that now this letter to the judge is proof that we have all been paid and been in contact with Ezra Hudson. So I said, statement regarding Ezra Hudson's tag-related PR-driven filing to the judge. I've seen the recent filings by Blake Lively's legal team that implies I was somehow involved in a smear campaign based on what? The fact that a PR firm may have flagged my public content. Ezra herself says apparently at the behest of Tag, meaning they have no proof or indication that it's so. Let's be crystal clear. I have never contacted, paid, or coordinated with Tag, Justin Baldoni, or anyone else involved in this case. I'm a branding strategist and creator who reported on this lawsuit independently because it raised real questions about narrative manipulation, platform power, and celebrity influence. All things I've built my career analyzing. What Blake Lively's team doesn't want to admit is this. Creators like me started asking uncomfortable questions, and the story started shifting. That doesn't make me part of a campaign. That makes me someone who pays attention and speaks up. If Tag internally tracked creators who were commenting on this case, that's not conspiracy. That's standard PR monitoring. Trying to twist that into evidence as some secret operation is not only a reach, it's reckless, especially when you're dragging content creators into federal court filings without cause. I will not be silenced, intimidated, or misrepresented. And if Blake Lively's team is going to keep talking about me in the public record, you can bet I'll be doing the same. So that was my statement that I had put out. And I don't care what they claim in that filing, which again, she says apparently at the behest of Tag. I have not been contacted in any way that I am aware of by Tag, Justin Baldoni, or anyone associated at Wayfarer. I have not been paid by either side. Not received any narrative seeding by either side that I am aware of. I have not received any communication. I do not know how to put this any more clear for people to hear me. I have not had any communication or received any funds from anyone involved. In fact, the reason why I have my own business is I don't like taking orders from people. I like to do what I want to do. I don't even know the price that would have to be made to make me give a shit about one person's side, to be quite honest. And when we look at my coverage of this case, I was initially pro Blake. I have worked as a counselor before I was in branding and marketing. That's how I look at branding and marketing, is through the lens of psychology, because I actually have a history in psychology. And then I got really interested in building personal brands, starting with my own. It was a personal training studio. It's a story for another day. But I just saw this need to talk about the case in terms of what's going on behind the headlines, to help educate the public that might not otherwise understand how SEO manipulation works and different PR strategies and tactics to change or shift or shape narratives. And so I started out talking primarily in support of Blake. And then as the evidence came out, in support of Justin. And throughout this entire coverage that I've provided on my channel, I have said really nice things, which I'm starting to regret if these people are dragging me into this case. I said really nice things about Ryan Reynolds and Maximum Effort. I have told people multiple times that his biggest error was stepping outside his niche in terms of Maximum Effort and taking on It Ends With Us as a marketing contract. He should have never done that. I've said many times on this channel how I genuinely think, and I have received tons of backlash for this, that he is a very smart man when it comes to marketing, that he understands his niche. I've praised Maximum Effort and their marketing. The only criticism I have given Maximum Effort or Ryan in regards to his knowledge of branding and marketing is they had no business touching It Ends With Us because they turned it into Barbie. They tried to give it the more of the jokester brand archetype, and you can't put a comedian jokester lighthearted brand archetype on top of a DV movie. It doesn't work. And for those that follow me for branding psychology, the official term is the jester. And I have videos about how Ryan has done a great job, how he brings up nostalgia marketing, etc. I've talked very favorably to Ryan Reynolds on this channel. I've also said good things about Blake Lively's marketing and PR at certain points. When they originally were flooding the zone, when she was marketing a simple favor or another simple favor, I said, this is actually really good. I said, they have to be careful to not go over the top. And then you start to just piss people off. But in the initial beginning, I said, other than her clothes choices, which I would not be putting someone in the middle of one of the biggest Hollywood scandals in like black leather gallivanting around New York, bad choice. And then she switched it up into lighter colors afterwards. Good choice. And I also praise that. So on this channel, I have praised both Ryan and Blake many times. I've also criticized PR choices for Justin many times. I have criticized branding choices for Justin on this channel. So I would say, yes, it likely appears that I'm leaning more Justin because I do believe he's been falsely accused of the SH based on the evidence I have. I've also said I'm open to seeing things differently if she brings actual evidence forward. So yes, it has appeared that I've been more pro Justin, but what I am here is calling, what do they call it? Strikes and balls or something based on what I'm seeing in branding and marketing. It's not my fault that Blake has made a lot of missteps, but I have said positive things about her on this journey of covering this never ending, because it is never going to end, case. And in fact, there was one point at coverage or of covering this that I was going to stop because I was trying to be objective and call things how I saw them. And I had Blake people, like pro Blake people, coming for me and calling me names and trying to cancel me. And then I also had pro Justin people coming for me and trying to cancel me over the same damn video that I'd be making. The day before I received my subpoena, I had people in my comment section asking if I was paid by Blake's team. The day before I received my subpoena. So, I just want to get that out there because it's a bunch of bullshit to paint me as someone that has been paid by Justin's side to smear Blake Lively. Because one, I don't even know off the top of my head. It would have to be like millions of dollars to get me to buy my opinion, and I still probably wouldn't, to be honest. It would have to be to the point where I could probably just close up shop and never have to work again, to be quite honest. Like multiple millions of dollars. And I'm telling you right now, they're not paying someone multiple millions of dollars with 13,000 subscribers when I had, maybe a couple thousand subscribers at the beginning of this year. It's not happening. It's not happening. So there is really no number that could have got me to talk about one side or the other. This is why I work for myself. But let's look at the legal filing. I just see it now. So I'm being like, see, there is a number that she'd get paid. I don't know. If Blake's side came to me with $100 million, I might be enticed to say nice Blake things too. Putting that out there before someone's like, see, she said she would take money. Well, yeah, I don't know. $100 million from Blake? And then I never have to work again in my life? I don't know. So this is the legal filing that was put up July 18th, 2025 by Esra Hudson. I struggle to call it a legal filing because really what it is a PR campaign that they're putting out, honestly, behind the guise, in my opinion, of litigation privilege. And it's just smearing content creators that, again, have just been wrapped up in this fishing expedition because, again, I have not been paid or approached by either side. So it says here, Judge Lyman, plaintiff Blake Lively writes to respectfully request that the court compel defendant of the agency group, PR, LLC, TAG, and I didn't even know what TAG was before this, or Melissa Nathan or any of these people. Defendant Melissa Nathan self-proclaimed, that's such a shady ass way to put it, self-proclaimed reputation management company to de-designate as confidential attorneys eyes only TAG's June 25th, 2025 second supplemental response and objections to Miss Lively's first set of interrogatories. The interrogatory responses identify individuals and media outlets with whom TAG communicated about Miss Lively and topics related to this lawsuit. This information does not constitute trade secrets under the parties' protective order, as TAG claims, and the designations are thus improper. The court should not permit TAG to manipulate the discovery process to perpetuate the same harms that got sued in the first place. A core component of Miss Lively's claims center on the defendants and cross-complainants Wayfarer Studios, LLC, Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, It Ends With Us, Melissa Nathan, TAG, Jennifer Abel, and Steve Sarowitz digital media smear campaign, which sought to manipulate the media landscape using untraceable. The audacity to keep calling it untraceable when you're also claiming that you traced it. How is it untraceable if you're also claiming, in this hand, Judge, it is this untraceable smear campaign that they've launched against us. In this hand, we have completely traced it and mapped it to these small ass content creators that are making pennies on their videos or who are not even monetized at all. Manipulate the media landscape using untraceable sources to paint Miss Lively as the aggressor instead of the victim. TAG's interrogatory responses yet again attempt to bend reality to the Wayfarer party's end. In March 14th, 2025, Miss Lively purported the interrogatories on TAG seeking the identities of online personalities or content creators and others with whom TAG communicated about Miss Lively, Mr. Reynolds, the CRD complaint, the actions, or the Lively Reynolds companies. Specifically, and by the way, Lively Reynolds companies, I have said really nice things about Maximum Effort. Okay? But apparently, saying nice things about them doesn't get you. They don't care. They don't care. As long as you've said one bad thing about them. Specifically, interrogatory number 5 asks TAG to identify all content creators with whom you have communicated in any manner concerning Miss Lively, Mr. Reynolds, the CRD complaint, the actions, the Lively Reynolds companies, or the digital campaign from May 1st, 2024 to present. On June 18th, 2025, Miss Lively purported similar interrogatories on Heath, Baldoni, It Ends With Us, Abel, Wayfarer, Sarowitz, and Nathan, and those responses are due on July 18th, 2025. After TAG was ordered to respond to the interrogatories, TAG supplemented its responses, identifying a number of individuals who have spoken public. See, I want you to pay attention here. TAG supplemented its responses. Okay, I want you, if you've not been paying attention, I need you to pay attention right now. So after TAG was ordered to respond to the interrogatories, TAG supplemented its responses, identifying a number of individuals who have spoken publicly about Miss Lively in the lawsuit. So they supplemented it with a list of people that they knew were speaking on the lawsuits. Not words matter. Words matter. Not they supplemented it with new people that are proven to be paid by TAG or where they admit are paid by TAG. They supplemented it identifying a number of individuals who have spoken publicly about Miss Lively and the lawsuit. So basically people they're aware that we're talking about it. Likely because in PR, especially crisis PR, you will flag accounts as like kind of friendly fire, neutral, or enemy fire, kind of that's the best way I can describe it, right? You're going to flag and watch accounts. Crisis PR is so expensive because you're on the ball like 24/7, quite literally. You are watching what public sentiment is doing. You are watching how narratives are shifting. So you might have someone that is like 100% pro Justin. You might have someone that's like a wild card. I genuinely, and I'm not being an asshole in saying this or trying to be difficult, I genuinely would have thought that I'd be kind of like pro mixed with maybe, wild card, to be honest, because I have said positive things about Blake and Ryan. I've said negative things about Justin's PR and marketing. But I don't know, maybe I am on the neutral. I have no idea. But you tend to have anyone that knows anything about PR. So Blake's team is either being intentionally obtuse to use it as a PR narrative, right? No, we didn't know that. We just thought because they're on a list that they're getting paid. Like, what are you talking about PR? What are you talking about tracking public sentiment? What are you talking about tracking what people are saying? No, that doesn't happen. If they're tracking you, it clearly means you're getting paid. Girl, I would need like $100 million to get paid. All right. There, upwards of that. Okay. Buy my like $10 million property for all my farm animals, enough to take care of them until the rest of my life, until I die. Leave them with some money for someone to take over the sanctuary, clear up all the bills. I'm not, for pennies I make on YouTube, are you fucking kidding me? You've got to be joking me that I would sell out my integrity, that I would put at risk my reputation for like $10 on a video. You have got to be fucking kidding me. It is such a joke at this point. I'm sorry. It is a laughable joke that I would risk everything for like $10. And not paid directly from them, but $10 from the video. Because I'm not making any money from them either. So the only way you could argue is like, oh, they seeded her a story. And because they seeded her a story, like she got paid it. Ooh, the $10. And how would I know if Rainbow Princess Buttercup 72651 XOXO is someone associated with TAG? And at the end of the day, ask anyone that ends up in my DMs. I very rarely cover what people send me because, again, stubborn. Again, I do what I want to do, which is why I work for myself, which is also why I wouldn't be probably someone's first choice to pay, to be honest. Anyway, so TAG supplemented its responses, identifying a number of individuals who have spoken publicly about Miss Lively in the lawsuit. Apparently, at the behest of TAG and the other Wayfarer defendants. Girl, what? Apparently? You are dragging us into federal court and our names on the docket over apparently? So they were given a list of people that are talking about the lawsuit that Wayfarer or TAG or whoever was aware of that was talking about the lawsuit. And they're like, apparently, they would have been getting paid for this. Despite the factual nature of this information, TAG unilaterally designated its response as confidential in attorney's eyes only. So if it's attorney's eyes only, how does Blake know who's on it? thus, if she does, thus obscuring Tag as a source of the information and allowing the Wayfarer defendants to once again recast Lively as their aggressor and pursuing subsequent discovery, which is exactly what has transpired. I'm going to tell you, they're teeing up a PR blitz. I called this when, allegedly, I called this when she didn't show up for the deposition, when an emergency hearing was called. Emily D. Baker has also mentioned how it's very obvious Blake's lawyers don't understand PR in terms of the social media landscape. They understand the legacy media landscape, but we watched in the last video, I'll put the link in the show notes here. We watched in the last video how Emily had said they always seem to be shocked at what public sentiment is. Like they expect things to go one way and then they go another way. And I genuinely believe that they thought that sending a subpoena out to content creators would either fly under the radar where no one would know, or if it did catch attention, it would be in their favor. I genuinely believe they were shocked at the pushback over it. In my opinion, it felt like when they called that emergency meeting, they needed to get things under control. They needed to get the narrative under control. And they still need to get the narrative under control. Because legacy media, it's funny how this just comes out now. Motions to quash are starting to hit the docket. Legacy media is starting to pick it up on what's happening. Legacy media is starting to call Blake a bully. Lots of unfavorable articles coming out about Blake. So now is when they put this out. But they've had this since when? When did they say? Either way, it's not a huge deal. It's just ridiculous. So during meet and confer discussions, Tag's counsel primarily claimed that its interrogatory responses constituted trade secrets, which if disclosed could somehow harm Tag's business. Not so, Blake claims. The protective order limits confidentiality in AEO designations to non-public material, the public disclosure of which will cause harm to the business, commercial, financial, or personal interests of the producing person and or third party to whom a duty of confidentiality is owed. Anyway, they go on. It says, moreover, these misdesignations are having very real impacts. For example, and see, here's the interesting thing for wording for me as well. Words always pique my interest. For example, if Miss Lively issues subpoenas related to individuals identified in Tag's interrogatory responses to marshal evidence about their involvement in the smear campaign, she will be hindered in her ability to meet and confer or respond to questions, and will be unable to explain to such subpoena parties that the discovery directed towards them is based in part on the fact that Tag identified them. Content creators who have been subject to discovery have already painted Miss Lively as the aggressor in this lawsuit and have drawn a false equivalency between her discovery efforts and the Wayfarer party's alleged smear campaign. So this is interesting to me. It doesn't say, moreover, these misdesignations are having very real impacts. Miss Lively issued subpoenas. It's not what it says. It says if Miss Lively issues subpoenas related to individuals identified in Tag's interrogatory. But I thought you knew who's in it. I thought you just said you knew who was in it and that's why you subpoenaed them. Did you not just say you apparently allegedly have this mysterious list and that's why we're getting dragged into federal court? Because you apparently know that we're on this list. So then why here does it say if Miss Lively issues subpoenas related to individuals identified in Tag's interrogatory? So do you know damn well that the vast majority of people have nothing to do with this? That maybe there's like a Daily Mail reporter or something on that list that does. And you damn well know that the majority of people have absolutely nothing to do with this. But maybe allegedly, I'm not accusing them of this. I'm genuinely curious if this is what they're doing. You are sweeping everyone else up in it to paint a certain narrative that the world is against her, that there was this big ass smear campaign, because it won't work as well if the whole argument is like, yeah, they went to the Daily Mail. Well, where's your smear campaign? Who doesn't? That's your smear campaign, as they went to the Daily Mail, right? I'm just saying in theory. Like, I'm genuinely trying to figure this out. I'm not accusing them. But I think if you are fine with twisting facts, taking a list of who they are aware of and is on their radar, maybe on internal PR flagged accounts, not flagged as in bad, but just like flagged as in they're talking about it, taking that list of these are people that are talking about it and turning it into these are people that are somehow connected, but you know they're not. You know they're not, because if Miss Lively issues subpoenas related to individuals identified in tags interrogatory, so you're fishing. You're fishing. You don't know that we are. So you're fishing to try and prove it, to try to find any thread, is what you're saying. So I will say this. Yes, Tag, who I don't even believe is still working for Justin, by the way. I could be wrong on that. Likely had a list for standard procedures in crisis PR. Lists, potentially, of pro Justin, like they are hitting the same kind of like messaging points that we are. They're spreading kind of like what our side is saying. Again, doesn't mean they're paid, doesn't mean they're in cahoots, doesn't mean there's an invisible smear campaign, just tracking. We are aware, especially maybe they're having like a daily meeting, probably a daily meeting at this level. We're aware of these accounts that are in alignment with kind of our talking points as well. They're pro Justin. There's these that are kind of the wild cards, they're neutral. And there's these that are anti. So like ex-patriarch would be on that one. And they're also monitoring that. They would also be monitoring that. Leave Amber Heard alone. An ex-patriarch would probably be on that list. So yes, Tag likely has lists, but people need to take a seat. That doesn't mean, and if you read Ezra's own damn words, I know their PR talk of trying to slander and throw content creators under the bus without saying we have nothing and this is a fishing expedition. But yes, they likely have lists, Tag, as does every PR in a crisis. Yes, people that have been named under Google or X subpoenas could potentially have been on those lists. But no, that does not mean because you were flagged as an account that is like either pro or neutral or anti, that you are being paid by either side, that you are in cahoots with either side, that you are being seeded a narrative from either side. Every crisis PR is going to have lists. And it is my opinion that Blake Lively and Ezra Hudson are twisting that information to fit a narrative that there is still this smear campaign. But multiple times in this document, the way they word it exposes the fact that they don't actually know if anyone's involved. It's just a list. It's just a PR list that they likely have as well. So the final thing I'm going to say on this, because it's Saturday and I want to relax and I am not planned on doing a video today, is one, if they do have this list, they likely received a PR, some sort of PR monitoring document and saw names of accounts that they have now added within these subpoenas. And they have spun this into, this means there is evidence that there is this network of coordinated attacks against Blake Lively. But if you ask for my opinion, all this is number one, overreach of powerful, rich celebrities to try and silence people that don't agree with them, to try and silence people that do not fit their narrative. And I do think this has something to do with what Emily D. Baker has said, that they don't understand social media. They understand legacy media, but they're losing badly the game of social media. And eventually, especially in the summer can be dead time for legacy media. It is dangerous to their narrative if it starts to, which it had been, catch on that Blake Lively is a bully, dragging innocent content creators into federal court. That is a dangerous slope. The summer is not the time you want a scandal. She's got to be counting her lucky stars that the fucking astronomer CEO was caught cheating, because that took some of the focus off of her. You can't pay for that. That lightning in a bottle distraction. Summer is the worst time for this to happen in PR. It's well known. So I believe that there's a real fear, my opinion, on Blake's side, that how things might shift in terms of the legacy media narrative control, with legacy media starting to pick up on it. And that's why this showed up, because in the last couple of days, more and more legacy media was picking it up. And I believe there was likely an emergency type meeting between PR and legal with Blake Lively's team, and they had to come up with something that wasn't necessarily for the courts. This is PR. And I would not be shocked if we see a PR blitz behind this to try and counter the narrative that was starting to take hold with the content creator subpoenas. Number 2, it's intimidation. It's intimidation. We have you on a list. We know your dirty dealings that you've been doing, except content creators are like, bitch, please, what? I haven't been. I'm not talking about you because I'm paid. And again, I think number 3, all this is showing is a poor understanding of how content ecosystems work. And they're trying to catch up to fix the damage of their bad moves. And the way they're trying to catch up to fix the damage of their bad moves is throwing people under the bus and trying to distract. But there's a list. And the problem is the uninformed majority of the public don't know about PR, don't know about lists, don't know it's actually completely normal to have a list. In fact, you're doing a shit job in your PR if you don't have a list, if you're not tracking anything, if you're not tracking public discourse, if you're not tracking who's saying what, who's gaining attention. And it doesn't mean necessarily the biggest accounts. For example, if my account had a video and now it's being shared all over Reddit about media manipulation and narrative control, that could put me on the radar of both sides. I'm now in the red of Blake's team, potentially, and the green of Justin's side. Because even if I don't have massive reach, even if I'm not reaching millions of people with my view, we all know, and I've said this multiple times, it's like, you all got me here. This is a wonderful community. You guys are smart. You're intelligent individuals. You're critical thinkers. You are looking for a new perspective on this. And then you guys bring the information and you're taking it to Reddit and you're taking it to X. And that's dangerous, right? Because that spreads the narrative faster than anything. But I really believe that they didn't understand how these content ecosystems worked. An account like mine that might not be the biggest, but has a very loyal community with critical thinkers that then share and spread the information, that becomes a danger. But again, likely got me on the red side for Blake's and the green side for Justin's. So anyway, my friends, I just wanted to address that. Went much longer addressing it than I planned on doing, which is also why I did pre-recording, because I know I would have been here for 6 hours talking to you guys about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share this video with anyone that seems to be very confused about what is going on, or who, is really pushing a very unfortunate narrative of a reckless narrative that we are being paid by Justin's side. Feel free to share this video with them to spread the news. And I guess with that, I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.